my topic will be about the stereotypes of the Greek life. So usually when anybody thinks of like sororities or fraternities, they think of the stereotypes, which is, these are the three big ones: parties, drinking, and hazing. But according to LA Weekly, they use the movie Neighbors as an example of a stereotypical fraternity, which was Delta Psi Beta. And pretty much what happened there was that the president was not responsible in any way, right? Just throwing parties every day. And according to the article, We Are IU, there's a lot of misconceptions about sororities and fraternities, specifically that we are promiscuous alcoholics all the time. But technically, in my perspective, being in a Greek organization isn't about the parties, the drinking, or the turn-ups. It's about supporting our brothers and sisters, being better role models, and encourage others to become better leaders. So I will talk about hazing, other stereotypes, and how Delta Zeta is only one example of a non-stereotypical sorority. So if any of you don't know what hazing is, the definition is the imposition of strenuous, often humiliating tasks as part of a program of rigorous physical training and initiation. So pretty much anything that makes you feel uncomfortable and that you're forced to do. And according to the National Study of Student Hazing, about 55% of college students are being hazed, and 95% of them don't report it. And this can be potentially very dangerous because, according to CBS News, there's been at least one student death every year due to hazing. And I'm going to show you guys a little clip of the movie Neighbors. So just so you guys can get a little idea of how it is.
The PC button.
So even though, for those of us, who watch the movie, it could be pretty funny watching it, but, unfortunately, some pledges actually get treated like this. And, they aren't allowed to say anything because, if the school finds out, they probably, get suspended. And, I don't blame people who think that, all sororities and fraternities haze, because I used to be one of those people. I used to think that, oh, well, all they do is party, and all they do is, treat their pledges, like they're nothing. But it wasn't until I actually found out more about the Delta Zeta here on campus that I actually, kind of thought in a different way. Delta Zeta is a national sorority here on campus, and I'll explain how it is only one of the non-stereotypical sororities on campus and, nationwide. First of all, this attacks like one of the stereotypes. For us, we had to go through a 10-week dry process, so which means that we weren't allowed to drink for 10 weeks. And I'm 19, but even if the pledges are 21 or older, they still weren't allowed to do so. And strictly we don't haze. They actually give us a phone number that we can call if we ever feel like we're being put on like anything embarrassing or anything. And we have 4 pillars that we base our sorority on, which is academics, that's number 1, sisterhood, philanthropy, which is like community service, and the last one is social, so that's like, when we support other organizations. So there's meaning to our letters. It's not just saying like, oh, we're Greek. That's not the whole point. There's actually meaning behind it. So for our initiation, once we complete our new member process, which means that we didn't drink for 10 weeks. We actually did everything that we were supposed to do. Our big hands are chapter letters, so this pretty much tells us like, hey, you're officially a Delta Zeta. So here's my big, you're getting my letters, and that's my pledge class. And this is actually the big deal about our sorority here on campus. It's the big and little letters. So aside from our chapter letters, that's the letters that we all have, they're all the same. But these letters, it's like when you're big, it feels like you really deserve like your own letters. It's like the letters that that only you and your big will share. And pretty much there is no time limit when she can give them to you. It can take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or until you graduate, or sometimes some people never get them. I think this is one of our biggest traditions here because it actually gives meaning. It actually gives meaning to why you're in the sorority. You actually have to do something to earn it. For example, and it's like there's not really like rules in order to get them. For example, I really think like, oh well, as long as you do get in school, you'll get them. It's not really that easy. For example, I initiated in June. Now I still haven't gotten my letters, and I maintain like a good GPA. And now I work and I go to school and everything, but that's not all there is to it. There's actually meaning behind it. And this is our tradition here at Cal State LA. Every sorority fraternity has their own way of rewarding their new members, and this is ours. So in conclusion, being in a Greek organization isn't about the parties, the drinking, or the turn-ups. It's about supporting our brothers and sisters and being better role models and encourage others to become better leaders. And also an example that I forgot to mention about hazing, not only the clip that I showed you guys, but an actual like real life example also happened in the University of Arizona last year. A student, a guy, he was rushing for their most popular frat. I don't remember the name of it at the moment, but pretty much their task was to build a pool in the frat house. So all the pledges, once they were done building the pool, their last task was to jump off the highest window into the pool. And obviously, that doesn't sound like a good idea, but one of them did, and he's paralyzed, and he didn't make it into the frat because he didn't complete that task successfully. So that example of brotherhood, that's not even there. So we should all be careful about that if you guys do end up wanting to rush. But I talked about hazing, the stereotypes, and how Delta Zeta is only one example of a non-stereotypical sorority. And as I mentioned, every sorority and fraternity has their own values that they pride themselves with. Okay, so in conclusion, I hope that after this presentation, when you see these Greek letters on campus, you take a moment to think about the good things that come with these organizations. These are all sororities and fraternities that are on campus. There's more, they don't have space. But I encourage you all to look into possibly rushing. You'll actually be surprised at how much they have to offer and how much they can actually benefit.